same old blues. But that storm just keeps on rolling, bringing me some real bad news. Take us, get the honey, give us sing the blues. Too many crooks, yeah, suppose such a good thing. I know I laughed out loud, but that was then. Ain't it funny, a fool and his money always seem to find those real good friends. That storm just keeps on rolling, bringing me some real bad news. The takers get the honey, give us sing the blues.
Willkommen zu David Lee Roth, Zen und der Kunst des zuletzt Lachens.
We're calling it David Lee Roth at this point in time. It's not the Roth show. It's not the Roth event. It's not the Roth experience. I remember when that happened, when Jimi Hendrix went from the Jimi Hendrix Band or the Jimi Hendrix Show. A lot happened about that year, like in the 60s, mid-60s or some such. Cream forgot the word the. That was big. That was huge. You know, at first it was a typographic issue, you know. All bands had the word the. The Beatles, the Dave Clark Five, right? It's, you know, the Rolling Stones. And when Cream came out, there was no the. It was conceptual, like Facebook. Really, or Walkman. Nobody who speaks English as a first language would ever think of that, but when you see it, you go, oh yeah, of course. I get it instantly. It's like describing a comic, a drawing. Man walking. Okay, I get it. And clearly, you know, he's holding the thing. So, you know, it's like we're in coffee on the side of a jar. A lot of simple signage these days is just what's in it. Facebook is probably your best example here. What I'm drinking right now is High West whiskey. Whiskey made me what I am today, fat, drunk, and unemployable. Mostly unemployable. People talk about whiskey, and I have to wonder if it's, okay, we're all going along for the ride. I don't know if you were raised by parents or a parent or a probation officer or a coach who would tell you, sit down, shut up, and stand up and have a good time. And ultimately, you knew how to do that. Shut up and cheer. If you were whining at the baseball game, whether it was Little League or the, you know, in the stadium, whatever, and they, you know, will you shut up, please, and have a good time? Mister, shut up and sing the song. How do you do that? I was raised to know how to do that. And having a good time, you know, is talked about like in Huckleberry Finn, when these two characters pretending to be British royalty and Shakespearean actors are picked up by Huck and Jim on the raft, and they throw a terrible, terrible rendition of Hamlet or Macbeth or something, and everybody from the townspeople go in and they all know it's horrible. But nobody wants to admit it, because then the other half of the town, and this was like around Civil War time, the other half of the town would know that they got duped into watching something terrible for money and everything. So they all come out, including the reviewer in the local newspaper, and say how spectacular it was and make everybody else jealous. So the other half of the town dutifully go check it out as well and come back out saying the exact same thing. That's how these guys make a living, okay? I'm going to wonder, do you remember Zima? Do you have any Zima in the refrigerator? We talked about Boone's Farm, sparkling wines, Cold Duck, okay? It's Cold Duck time again. You know, that's an actual song, right? Who did that? We'll have to figure that one out quick. Run to the Google web. Hold on one second. I'm going to have a little sip of whiskey right here. Jesus, how'd I get into this? Literally and figuratively. See, now, what I taste notes of bib overall, Listerine being used as insect repellent, and Camel cigarettes. Hold on. The non-filter kind, the original. Hold on one second. I'm going to smell the bouquet. I smell Zippo lighter with, I I think that's Techron. That's actual gasoline inside the Zippo lighter. That's what notes of Zippo is what I taste. And I'm saying it all respectfully. I'm already starting to stutter, right? I guess that's half the point. I like whiskey. I think that, in fact, biblically, historically speaking, Jack Daniels owes me a fur coat. Okay? How many times have I listed Jack Daniels? And that's a totem. I believe that the word totem, I don't know. What's more, if I am wrong and you're fact-checking, it's more interesting that I'm wrong. Even if I talk about something historically and I get the story completely wrong and backwards, that is entertaining and illuminating in and of itself, right? I could fact-check all of this stuff. In fact, we could do it during editing and I could come back and figure it out, but it's more entertaining if I completely took a left-hand turn civically, culturally, or, recreationally. Okay, I think that's probably more illuminating than if I went back and fixed it. Although in Hollywood, you know what they say, plastic makes perfect. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to check the nose. Get it? It's a plastic joke. 1 second. I started drinking Jack Daniels because I watched Frank Sinatra do it. Not because it was, the hoist the bottle and guzzle the bottle. The rhythm section kind of went in that direction, and I understand that. Come on. The year that Van Halen came out and you sold our first 10 million whatever, well, we sold a lot more than that. What they told us was we sold only 10 million. It was the same year that Animal House was the #1 movie. Again, if I'm historically inaccurate, it's more fun and entertaining that's what Roth thought was the #1 movie, and he based a lot of his career on that. Or they based that movie on a lot of his career. We based both of our career arcs, say that 4 times in a row, on something that happened astrologically at that point in time. I do like whiskey, but I think that Jack Daniels, sipping it, and you can see the face, I make the face, it's tart. It's got a dry and tart kind of taste that makes it perfect for mixing with soda pops. Coca-Cola, Jack and Coke is, as I understood it, again, if this is inaccurate, it's more fun. As I always understood it, that was Frank Sinatra's drink, Jack and Coke. Later on in life, that extended to Sammy Davis Jr., and you always saw that on the Rat Packs table. And it wasn't so much the Rat Packs, even the lifestyle, it was the attitude towards some of the ends of the art form, a la improvisation on the stage. You follow? If you've seen the latest Van Halen shows, it's a collection of great songs with a story, or is it a story with a collection of great songs? We begin to enter something beyond just regular concert. Same thing as when you see a band like U2. Are we still recording? I see the look on the pilot's face when he turns away and starts looking at the dials. It's like, hey, I fly a helicopter occasionally, but only with adult supervision. Okay. When the adult supervision starts going, no, quiet, and starts looking at the dials, I become very quiet. Okay, we're all good. We're still airborne. Hold on 1 second. So I started drinking the Jack Daniels, and you would see that on the Van Halen stage routinely because it suggests festive in about 82 different languages. The same as they changed the Johnny Walker logo. It was a guy who looked faintly British, Irish, or something to me. Can you have that in your mind's eye? He's got the top hat and the red jacket, and he's kind of had boots. Okay? Well, that's no longer the way they roll it. Now it's in silhouette, a la neo-primitive tattoo. It's a black kind of a silhouette because there's huge markets in Indonesia, China, Japan, Egypt, South America, etc. And ain't no Irish spoken there. So to speaky. Me no speaky Irish. But the ascension to the dream, there's some part of us that says, hey, I've got, at some point between Wednesday night, arguably the first night of the weekend, and Friday and Saturday night, arguably, what you're working your way over. Everybody's working for the weekend. Hey, that's a great title. Somebody ought to do that song. Hold on 1 second. If everybody's working for the weekend, well, then we got to have a logo that looks like all of us. And it can't just be one flag. So they changed Johnny Walker. I read a article about it in Adweek. And what I have here is High West. This is small batch. Everything's gone artisanal. everything, even shoelaces. Well, let's stick with food, okay? What is your particular favorite kind of candy? While you're thinking, I'm going to go with licorice. All right, I dig licorice, black licorice, red licorice. Plus, if you get the long red licorice ropes, then you can do bondage with your sweetheart. and you can, like, now chew your way to freedom. Gnaw your way to freedom. Freedom. Part of the fun of the show is like when you're driving somebody in an off-road kind of a vehicle, you know. And the guy really knows the ranch really well. This has happened to me. And, or he knows that part of the jungle or the veldt or the prairie, the basin. That's the best one. He knows the basin. The best, right? And he's fucking with you. And he turns to you while he's driving. And his wheel for his car is already on the wrong side because you're an American and the wheel is on the other side. And it's some fucking British Lesmata, some post-war shit that, you know, he's been fixing father and son and has been, you know, they opened the wheelbase because it's that way during the monsoon rainy season in the basin. And you're driving along talking about something casual like girls or Elvis or whatever. And he turns and he looks at you and he keeps looking at you way, way, way too long. And you're very concerned that you're slowly turning left off of the road. And it's not even really a road. It's more like a scraping. He's turned left off of the scraping, and he's going and going, and now the near misses happen. The rock formation, the hippo, the riverbank, literally. He's fucking with you, right? He knows exactly where he is. He's got the peripheral vision of a carrier pigeon. You know, he goes from about whatever that is, about 5 to 7 o'clock. If straight in front of you is 12, carrier pigeons can see all the way back to 5 to 7 without moving their eyes. You know, predators everywhere, you know, so they have that. It's more than peripheral. It's almost 360 degrees. Their eyes are on the sides of their head. Human beings aren't wired like that. Unless you're in music biz, you'll learn. So he keeps looking at you and talking and talking and talking. And you're getting deadly close to the riverbank, and you almost hit the palm tree, etc. And just when you think you're completely lost, there's the road again. The Roth show is a lot like that. I like to play the game, see how far out on an addendum to the addendum of the addendum can I go. Okay, here's a tangent. Wait a minute. What is this alleyway? Hold on, let's explore this. Whoa, this is a great alleyway. What do you think's behind this door? And see if you can get lost and then logically, practically work your way back, because it all ties together. It's all coming out of the same fountain, right? So, in theory. Now, we've seen this crash and burn. Remember the comedian who was doing the N-word? Who was that? Michael Richards got himself into a corner, and folks, humorists, I'll say, I'll consider myself a humorist. I'm not a stand-up. I'm not that good. I'm not a comic. You can't depend on me to be funny. You can depend on me to be conversational, but you cannot depend on me for the laughs. It's only when you don't see me coming that I can get you to laugh, right? But I've just explained to you that content-wise, subject-wise, okay, nutritionally, one subject leads to another. I might have an original point that instead of, okay, here's what I think is as we go along, all the best journeys have destinations which the traveler can either expect or predict. That's the most fun. Anybody who's climbed any seriously tall mountains will tell you that the very top of the mountain is freezing, dangerous, small. You want to take the picture and you want to go home. So what was it all about? It was about the going up and the going down, because when you were up there, you've all seen pictures of the top of Everest or whatever. Everybody's huddling together, and they seem to be saying something. They're going, I'm fucking cold. I'm so fucking cold. I am so fucking cold. And everybody talks about, man, I lost the tip of my nose, the tips of my ears, and the tips of my fingers to the freezing, man, and the tips of your, what? I'm sorry? Because, yeah, that goes too. And everybody stand up there going, I hope I don't lose my dick. I hope I don't lose my dick. I said, little by little, everything that sticks out or hangs off of you freezes first. Okay. Sorry to simplify the technical aspect and the mechanism of frostbite, etc., but that's it. Your nose, the tops of your ears, your fingertips, etc. You want to take the picture and go home. So the whole issue was the during, okay? You were there, and it was all about the up and the down. And even though I might have a single point, it's kind of like a journey. I could, okay, here's the point. But as we begin to talk, we're going to arrive at a series of other junctures. Oh, wow. Normal conversation veers that way. Say, how's the kids? My kid's doing good. He just got sideburns. Really? God, I miss Elvis. Me too. What's your favorite Elvis tune? Hold on one second. Oh, look at that chick. And it just moves that quickly, normally, without thinking, okay? Also, have I described the elevator debate session in New York City? Have I described that to you, how we go back and forth very quickly and we test each other's theories? There's a contest level there, because in California, it's more like a drum circle. Hey, welcome. Did you bring a drum? No problem. You can borrow one of mine. And that's marvelous. You got to have the heads and the tails to make the coin, okay? Excuse me one second. I'm drinking whiskey here. When we get into the elevators in New York City, the competition starts right there. And if it's not competition just for the glory of the sport, it's to keep your shit sharp. Say that 5 times in a row. Really, it keeps your shit sharp. You have, depending on what floor you're getting into the elevator and what, say reading level of folks who live in the building, okay? Because if folks read more, then the vocabularies are larger, the fight is more intense, but a bit shorter. Okay? If folks don't read a lot, then we swear more or something, and that can continue out into the lobby. But generally speaking, and the reason I'm bringing up debate is because we're having all of the political debates, okay? We've got the elections, happening. And you may be listening to this long after the elections, but, the political debates are happening. And the alternative to the way that we run the campfire, drum circle as I call it, in California is I live, about 6th floor? No, it's 11th floor. And it's Upper West Side. So most of the folks in the building there, right, wrong, middle, good, bad, other, have an education, a university education. So the discussions and the fight is going to be a lot quicker. You get in. For example, I demonstrated this to somebody, a reporter who was with me. She didn't believe me. She had a ball with this. I said, watch, we'll get in and keep your tape recorder on. Got in the 11th floor. We get in about 8th floor. Fella gets in. I know him to be a college professor. I'm not sure of what. He's in his 70s, okay? Notices I'm drinking water out of a plastic bottle and says, "Bottled water, what a waste." He said, "Yeah, but I think the taste is a little better and it might be a little cleaner." As we are descending, now we have 3 more floors to go, he goes, "New York City has the best water in the nation." And just as the doors open, I go, "Yeah, but how old are the pipes in this building?" Now, I won that one. And that was easy, and I knew how to win that one. That's one of those, okay, I know what they're going to come with if they catch me drinking bottled water in the elevator. That's an easy one. It's a chess move that you teach the kids, But that happens on every street corner right away. There's a competition that happens there as well. And so I like to invite that a little bit into the David Lee Roth experience. And I'm going to drop the. Isn't that, they say that in kabuki when it's done, right? Da-da. Or is it da-da? That's opera. It goes up for opera, and it would go up, but with symbols for trapeze. So somewhere between trapeze, opera, and Shakespeare is what we're doing for you here. David Lee Roth. Don't go away. We'll chase you. We're watching you. That's a sound that's really well known to a lot of people around the world. Here we go again. That's the sound like a Zippo lighter opening or the sound of a shotgun racking. In how many languages does that say no skateboarding here, right? But when you hear this, that says skateboard here. Or I'm ready to skateboard, are you, right? I'm going to pour a little bit. I'm drinking High West whiskey, Campfire. This is small batch, okay? This is my version of the food channel here. I'm going to take a little sip of this. A lot of times you get the artisanal, and it's like when you drink artisanal or independent brewery. Are you familiar with Independence and so forth? Even the Vons and the Ralphs, these are, West Coast mid-level markets, 5 on the 10 scale. This is where I shop, this is where I get my stuff and everything. Even there, they've gone all organic, and the beer section is all small batch, artisanal, whatever. The labels look suspiciously the same to me, kind of like when you go to the Starbucks and it says Ethiopian, Guatemalan, and Canadian, and the typeface is kind of the same, like it all came off the same artist table. I think I may have dated a fashion model like that once upon a time when I was young and skinny, an Ethiopian Canadian who was, from Guatemala. Actually, I think she was, hold on, I gotta take a little sip here. In honor of it's not so far-fetched that you get Ethiopian Guatemalans from, Vancouver times Africa, whatever, even on the news channel. You know, you have Arturo Belacqua, right? You have Giselle Sandoval. You know, these are like, wow, combination names that have some interesting stories, more for the parents than the actual, how do you get a name like Giselle Sandoval? It's okay, Dad was a French foreign reporter, and he was stationed in El Salvador during the conflict, and that's when he met your mom. I think that when you're drinking whiskey, it's more of a social event, okay? I'm not convinced that everybody really enjoys whiskey. It's a lot like tequila. Do you enjoy drinking tequila directly out of the, No, you're shaking your head no, right? Okay, did you have a bad experience with tequila? Or did you have a bad experience with a Guatemalan fashion model while drinking tequila? Because that could happen too. What was just the tequila? And a lot of people speak like that. There's a variety of boozes that bring with it, those kinds of stories. But that's another flavor. I don't know that tequila ever caught fire, the way that whiskey has. I see a lot of, Scotch, and Scotch is whiskey, right? Which one is spelled with an E? One of them is spelled with an E, E-Y, and the other one is with a Y, and I'm not sure which one is which, especially by the fourth shot, okay? I'm leery of going to tastings, a Scotch tasting or whatever. When you drink whiskey, do you mix it with something? Do you mix it with soda pop or Coca-Cola or anything like that? Okay, whiskey and soda. I'm not sure if I'm familiar right off with the taste of that. Whiskey in a paper cup, room temperature, blues, humidity. Is that an actual drink? That should be a drink, right? Hold on, let me see. I'm going to replicate that right there. Many times, though, I held the Jack Daniel's bottle up because I think that is the most famous whiskey in the world. Would you agree or disagree? Yeah, it's the most famous, and I'm not sure exactly why. Is it the best-looking bottle? I don't know. It may well be because, you have so many other kinds. How is it that Jack Daniel's still reigns supreme? I started trying some of the small batch, and by and large, it's, do you know how whiskey is actually made? It's made with corn. It's, you use corn mash to get that. And I'm not sure which one, is spelled with an E. Actually, it's here, E-Y. This is corn mash. If it's spelled W-H-I-S-K-E-Y, key, the key word is key. There you go. If it says key in the back, then the key word is corn. By law, it's got to be over 50% corn mash. And that by mash, they mean, the mush, the stew that they make it out of, right? And then they let that ferment. I don't know about artisanal beer, though. I'm still a Budweiser fan. Budweiser? Yeah? And I've noticed they brought that back to the Vons as well. I'm seeing single cans of Budweiser, Coors Light, the standard stuff. We had a can of Coors Light that was in the aluminum can. And the taste of the aluminum can was kind of like old canteen Boy Scout 1960s flavor when you used to have a church key, we called it, which was a can opener. There was no pop top. Boy, am I old. I just saw a church key sitting on the counter at my house, and it was old too. It's, you know what I'm talking about, okay? And if you watch all the old Vietnam movies, all the old cans of beer, etc., you needed that can opener with the point so that you could crack two, they were triangular shaped holes, one large, one small. And there's a trick where you can freebase beer or something what is it? Get on the mic and tell us how you do this.
We call it shotgunning.
Shotgunning. And what's the description?
Poke the hole in the bottom of it, and then when you open the top of it, the gravity does its work and shoots it all out that bottom hole. So it just rockets it.
And it rockets it right down the gullet. Okay, that's the mechanism. And it takes but a second, so you just kind of like the guy who wins the hot dog contest at Nathan's, you learn how to, or like in a video I just rented, which was Crazy Carnal Co-eds. which didn't involve any beer at all, but I think she was doing the same thing with her throat. And from what I could discern, I don't know, it's all horizontal and I was sitting vertical and it got all geometric, Your Honor. A little whiskey, please.